It's time for Breaking Bread with Papa. Hey, don't you know? Hey, it's also a show. Hey.
Do you have anything? Do you have any stuff from early on that went out into a special that you would have rewritten? I mean, not just from.
Yeah, I mean, it's so.
We weren't really.
Yeah, I mean,
giving it to people even at that time, but
no. I mean, there's stuff that I've done that. It's so weird. During the pandemic, we did this thing called Dinner with the Gaffigans, which started as this. We had friends that were at home, and we were like, you know what, we'll just do dinner, and we'll see if they can watch. And then it turned into this fundraising thing, and then it was kind of like, oh, this is good for our kids to like. We're eating dinner, but we're talking about helping people, and that kind of, looking back, we did it too long. It was like, there was a lot of benefit, but like in some ways it's like you don't want to put your kids in that position. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, having like a production schedule or having to be on camera.
We were just having dinner, and like it's just a lot to ask. But like, I think that it was well intended, but like, that's one of those things where, and like, I'm sure there's probably going to be people that are like, I love Dinner with the Gaffigans, and yeah, it was good, and it was kind of good to keep us in the chaos of the pandemic. We're going to have dinner at 6 p.m. Eastern every night, and we're going to do it live, and we're going to talk about like, the conversations you would have. But it's a little bit too exhibitionisty for me.
Right, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
100%.
So it's just not in my thing.
Does Jeannie get uncomfortable if you put the kids forward on stuff? Cynthia's always saying like off limits. Yeah. I mean, it's so strange because there is this balance of, you can talk about, I mean, I would never specify unless they're okay with it. Like at the end of Comedy Monster, there's a bit about my son Michael and Halloween. And I asked, I mean, he's 10, but I also know that like he's not going to be, I can't believe you told that story. You know what I mean? But it's a slippery slope because there is almost kind of along the thing where, and I have friends, these same people where they'll put like a peach over the kid's face, and you're like, all right, that's just, and that's fine because that's their boundary, right? Right.
But like there is part of me that's like, some of these friends, I'm like, yeah, all right, I understand you being protective, but like you do discuss eating ass in your stand-up. You know what I mean? So like,
right. Everyone's making it up.
We're all making it up as we go along. But
yeah, that's a very good point.
It's so weird. Like the concept that we're even parents is insane. Yeah.
Well, it seems like, I guess because we've just been doing it long enough, where it seems like there's more. It seemed like when we started having families, there were very few. Nobody was of our peers were.
Yeah. And it's like,
but I think in the long run, Cynthia asked me that actually. She was like, do you think it would have been much different if you hadn't had a family, if like your stand-up or whatever? And I was like, yeah, it would have been worse. Oh yeah, I would have been worse. I mean, some people are okay as like a single unit. Yeah, I'm not that guy. Who knows what I would have been talking about? Who knows what I would have been spending my time on in between shows? You know what I mean? Like it gave me structure, and it gave me like perspective on the world. And I mean, it's everything. I don't understand. I really think I would have been worse off.
That was good. Now let's try it one more time. Make it more believable.
I felt
maybe a little
I think it was
mist
my
in your
donut.
eye.
It was my donut.
No, it is.
One time,
I love my daughters.
No. One time, the first time I did the Tonight Show, I did with Leno, and I came off to the side and sat next to him, and he was like, "That was really funny." He goes, and we're talking a little bit, and he goes, "You got kids?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a kid and another one on the way." He was like, "Oh," and he looked away. He was just like, "Oh, too bad. I thought you were going to be a success."
Oh no!
It was that kind of a feel.
Well, that's how you kind of interpreted it. But I remember,
like, or maybe he just didn't have anything to talk about. But I definitely got the feeling it was, that's too bad.
When I hear that, and I would interpret it as he didn't go down that path.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, I wasn't there.
And he's the host of the Tonight Show.
And he is, well, it's like, I think, the ambition thing is such a strange monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's also the whole thing of like, I remember when I was at the Comedy Cellar, so it was like 25 years ago, and Ray Romano was like, this is before he got a show, before he really broke through.
Yeah.
And he was the married guy with kids. And I remember thinking, that poor guy. That poor guy is married with kids. He's trapped. Like, I literally would think, like, that poor guy, he lives in Queens. He has a car.
He's going home after this.
He drives home. I'm right. And he was like one of the best comedic minds. And I'm like, that's such a loss.
It's so true.